It's the Santana Show. Interesting guests and insight in good conversation with Naomi Santana.
Hello and
Lock
welcome
in.
to the Santana Show.
Listen.
I'm Naomi Santana and my guest today is Matt Sheehan. Matt is a journalist at WMBD News in Peoria, Illinois, and he graduated from Missouri State University. And he majored in broadcast journalism and minored in Spanish. Hi, Matt. Welcome to the show.
Naomi, thank you for having me on. Appreciate it.
Of course. So first, I want to start by congratulating you because I heard that you are engaged now. So congratulations on that.
I am. Yes, very exciting time. It was about a little bit over a month ago. So thank you for that.
That's fascinating. All right. So what inspired you to follow a career in journalism?
I think it was a mixture of things. It was a love for writing, a love for telling stories. It was a love for communicating with people and individuals. I grew up heavily in kind of the acting field. I did improv, I did choir, I did a little bit of theater, things of that nature. And so really just kind of combining all those things with my love for writing that made me consider journalism, because people in high school told me they thought that I would be good at it. And so when I started piecing together those things, and then also thinking about the truth and how the truth will set you free, and the truth brings a lot of freedom to people and a lot of justice for some people. And so I thought, what a better way than telling stories from broadcast, because that's got right now kind of the most reach to people. So from taking my love for writing, my search for the truth and telling stories, truthful stories to people, and trying to help people and just bring a positive energy wherever I work, all those things combined, that kind of inspired me to do journalism.
Wow, that's fascinating. Like hearing you that you're coming from an acting background, that's also interesting too. Like when I was
Yeah,
younger, I also used to take I was very involved in acting classes, and I also did a lot of theater in high school and all of that.
yeah, that's
Go
awesome.
ahead.
I mean, it definitely connects very well. And there's a lot of things to being a broadcaster that you learn in acting, whether it be facial expressions to your vocal tones, and learning, inflection and things of that nature, pronunciation, all that jazz. I mean, it all kind of connects somehow.
Absolutely. So are you originally from Illinois or are you from another state?
Yeah, so I am originally from St. Louis, Missouri. So I grew up there, lived there through high school, and then I went to college at Missouri State in Springfield, Missouri, just 3 hours southwest. And then during college, I actually interned at the station that I now am an anchor at. So between my junior and senior year, I was an intern at WMBD. And about a month and a half in or so, I started desiring to not just intern and learn and hear, but to do and to experience. And so I started telling the news director, who's still my news director to this day, that I wanted to be on air as an intern. I wanted to find opportunities where I could practice that. And I think from being dedicated, coming to work every day and working with them, being there when I'm supposed to, staying late sometimes, and coming in on the weekends, which was kind of an extra day for me in the week, that he saw that I really wanted it. And so as an intern, he actually let me stand in for different stories during my internship live on air and get that live experience, even in college at a station. And I was obviously interning at the time. And so, fast forward 9 months later, when I'm almost graduating college, I'm looking at different jobs, I'm interviewing, applying. He reached out to me and said, "Hey, we've got an opportunity here we would like you to come back to Peoria and work here full time. And I had a couple things in the air at the time. I had 2 other job offers and interviews, and it just felt right to come back to Peoria because of the growth that they gave me and the opportunity. And now I'm here nearly 3 years later, and I've gone from MMJ to reporter to weekend anchor, now to main morning anchor. And I think, looking back, it was definitely the right decision.
Wow, that's amazing. So right now you're anchoring, right?
Yes, I am on the morning show, which is just a ton of fun. The hours are crazy. You're getting up at 2:30 in the morning, working by 3:30, and then we go 4 hours straight. So we go from 5 a.m. to 7 a.m. on CBS, and then from 7 to 9 on Fox. And so we have 2 different shows. We have our first show is the more newsy show. It's WMBD This Morning, and we do some entertainment and more fun stuff like that too. But it's more of your local news, daily news, what you need to know. And then the last 2 hours is Good Day Central Illinois. And that's more of your fun lifestyle, more so of a TV host than a news anchor, for that show. So it's the best of both worlds for sure.
That sounds great.
Yeah, for sure.
What do you prefer to do most? Reporting out in the field or anchoring?
Yeah, I think I would have used to say, anchoring. And I think still some days I would. It really depends on the day. I mean,
Yeah.
when you're at the anchor desk and you're there for a long period of time, you kind of hold down the fort. You got to trust yourself. And, for me, I've got a co-anchor, Shelby Roberts, who's amazing as well. And, we need to trust each other, that if there's technical issues, the prompter goes down, the cameras are going, I mean, things like that happen. The prompter will go away, and you got to rely, directly off your scripts. And, she's got an iPad. We got to, do that stuff. And so you got to be able to trust each other. And so there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. And I like responsibility. So I do like that. But there's definitely this adrenaline rush that you get out in the field. That's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun because you never know what's going to happen on live TV. You also have to trust yourself that you're going to remember what you need to say. There's a balance between memorizing a script and just knowing what you want to say. And so I think for reporters, being able to find that balance of not being so dedicated to your script that you got to go word for word, but just getting the point across, and maybe doing, a lot of people over time, they develop the way to do it is by bullet points. And so you've got your bullet points of information you need to do, whether it be 5, 10 bullet points. And you can either look down at your notebook or your phone. These days, a lot of people use your phone, and they see, I'm out at this crime scene, right? And I got to remember that it was, at 5:30, and there were 10 gunshots heard by police. So a shot spotter of 10 rounds. So you do a little bullet point on your phone, shot spotter, 10 rounds, 5:30, boom, you remember. So, doing that stuff. So back to your original question. Right now, I mean, because I'm more so in the anchor role and on the desk, that would be what I prefer. But it is always fun to get out and kind of get some of the different experience out in the field.
That's awesome. And I like how you explain both. Like when you're anchoring, you have to trust your co-anchor because like you said, I know those things happen. So how do you guys deal with that? Like when the prompter goes out or when you're having technical difficulties?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the first thing I will say is always have your scripts. Whether you are reporting for a 1-minute hit in the studio or you're anchoring a half an hour show, always have your scripts, whether you're using iPad or you're doing, I have paper copies and she has the iPad. So no matter what, always have your scripts, and you gotta be proactive about, I'm done with these scripts. I'm putting them over here, and during the commercial break, I'm going and I'm recycling these papers because I don't need them anymore. And this is where I'm at. So that's what I would say is my first thing. Because if the prompter goes out and you don't have your scripts, I mean, that's happened before to people, and it's been a train wreck. Like you either have to, you gotta throw it to commercial break, which is like the worst thing that can ever happen to you, or your director has to know, back in the control room, has to know, like, we need to trust their memory that they know what the story is, and we're just going to throw video onto the screen and they have to talk about it, and that never that never goes very well. So that's what I would say, doing that, relying on each other, because you have to have this chemistry as anchors, to be able to ad lib, to be able to talk back and forth. So you have to have a natural chemistry. It can't just be this superficial, we'll be friends on air, and then the minute we walk off the set, I'm never talking to you. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
good to have that
absolutely.
chemistry.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
absolutely.
I think sometimes, that's the way it is. I don't think every anchor pairing are best friends or even friends, but when you have that natural chemistry, I think that helps. And so those are what I would say. Scripts, have a natural chemistry, have a trust between you two, that you trust each other. Because what's happened before is we were ad-libbing. It was election night, election morning, I should say, the next morning. And I had to talk about one race, and I had to ad-lib about it. And I was naming off every candidate. There were 5 candidates for this position. And I named 4, and I forgot one. I just blanked. I could tell you anytime who the candidate was, but at that moment I blanked. And I looked at her, and the minute I looked at her, she said the name, and it was good, because she had my back and she knew. So that's what I would say.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely needed that you guys have chemistry. I've noticed that a lot,
Thank you.
like just
Yeah.
by seeing newscasts and all that. How has the pandemic impacted you? Have you had to work from home at all, or do you still work just at the news station?
Yeah. So honestly, I can't say things haven't changed, but I've been in office the entire time. Um, uh, I will say though, at the beginning of the pandemic, that's when I was still weekend anchor, and I was, weekday reporting. And so what we did is we paired up photographers and reporters together every single day, because if somebody gets the virus, right, and you're working with different people every day, it could spread. So we were trying to, everybody's in their pair, you're in one car, you're outside the building as much as possible. But I was still coming into work because, I needed my computer, right? I needed my computer to get into my email and to my different systems and stuff. But so I had one, photographer for, we worked every day together for, I would say, 5 months straight, which is, pretty rare, especially in my station. And then for a while, and this didn't last very long, but like once you were done for the day, like we did a lot of look lives, because our goal was to get our stories done and get out of the station, don't have a ton of people in the building. And so the moment that I shot my look live about X, Y, and Z, and we had sent it to all the shows and everything was done, we went home, and we kept our phones on us, and just, if there's breaking news, you would get it. But, as things started to kind of calm down, and we started kind of getting a handle on the virus within our station and stuff, we all started coming back. We just wore masks, social distanced, all that stuff. And, that's what we've been doing ever since. I haven't ever had to like anchor from home or report from home or any of that stuff. So,
Oh, okay, that's good.
we didn't know what we were going to do. So,
Yeah. Someone told me, I don't even remember who. He works at a news station. I think he was a producer. And he said it's totally different working from home. It's not the same. And I was like, oh yeah, I could imagine.
yeah, there's definitely something about being in the building with everybody and seeing people and stuff. So,
Absolutely. When it comes to preparing your reels, what do you do? Like, what are the elements for a reel?
That's probably one of the biggest questions, especially seniors about to graduate, are dealing with. And I think, and this is from advice that I've heard, you're going to hear something different from just about every person, but I've taken a lot of input from dozens of people and I've kind of combined it all. And so what I would say is, first of all, aim for about 6 minutes total for your reel. First, like 5 seconds, put a photo at the beginning, like a headshot of you with your phone number and your email. So if the news director's looking at it, they can see, Naomi Santana. Okay, here's her email. I'm gonna write it down, or I'm gonna type it into my computer right now because I like her reel. I want to reach out to her for an interview. So do that. And then there's a lot of different inputs on this, but what I would say is have about 1.5 minutes of stand-ups, live shots, studio stand-ins, whatever experience you have that's quick, it's good, it's keeping the energy up, you're keeping the interest of who's watching, which is usually a news director, assistant news director, or an executive producer at a station. And so have about 1.5 minutes of different shots of like creative stand-ups that you've done. If you're out at a scene, you don't want to use the whole live shot, because if you're going live for like a minute, well, that's already a minute of your reel that's out the door. So if you have about 8 to 10 or 8 to 15 even seconds of really good content where you look good, you sound good, that you can put as its own thing, and then kind of splice them together, and keep doing that until you get to about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes even, but I would say 1.5 minutes. That's a great start. And so then after that, I would put like 2 or 3 packages after your stand-ups, because you want them to be able to see that you can go live, that you can report, that you look and sound good on camera, whatever. And then, but you also need to show them that from a storytelling aspect in these packages, that you can tell a story in 1.5 minutes in a package, or 1:15 in a package. And so if you put 2 or 3 packages, after that, well, if you have 1.5 minutes of, reporting, and then you've got 1.5 minutes, 3 packages, 1.5 minutes, you're at 6 minutes. So that's what I would say would be a good reel. I've had many different reels over the last 3 years. My current one is just a little bit over 6 minutes. It's strictly anchoring and hosting things. But from a reporter perspective, I would start with that reporting, studio, field, creative stand-up, wherever you may be, and then 2 or 3 packages.
Okay, thank you for that. What have been your worst and best moments that you remember on camera?
Oh, no. Oh my goodness. I have one from college that was bad. That was really bad. And let's just say I learned my lesson. That's for sure. So I was anchoring sports for one of our weekly newscasts. What we would do every Friday, we would do 2 30-minute newscasts. So this week I was the sports anchor. I had 7 sports stories in my sports block, and I'd gotten through 2 of the stories. And I hear in my IFB to wrap. And I'm like, wrap? I got 5 stories left. And so I was upset, but I was like, we must have gone over, or something must have happened. We don't have enough time. So I threw it to commercial, right? It was a college recording on a live stream. And I threw it to commercial. We faded to black. I waited a couple seconds, and then I turned to my co-anchors, the news anchors of the day. And I didn't say an obscenity, but I said a little something. I said, what just happened? And my professor ran out into the studio and said, that we just heard what you just said. It went over the airwaves. He was so mad.
Oh
And
my
I was
goodness.
like, oh no.
Oh no.
Um, and like, would what I have said, I said what the HE double hockey sticks, whatever. I said that. Would that have gotten me an FCC violation? I don't think so. But if it was the F bomb, maybe so.
Yeah, maybe.
But even though I just said that, I got a 0 for the week. So I got a 0 for
Oh,
that week's 100 points. And every other week I had gotten an 100 on the show stuff. And so I got a 0 on that. And so because of that, I missed 100 points and I didn't get the grade that I wanted to for the class that, was my strongest class. So that was my worst moment. My best moment. Oh man, I don't know. Possibly in the past couple of months, one of my goals for the morning show has been bringing on big name people to our show to interview. So a couple months ago, I had Dr. Fauci on, which was really cool. It was like surreal, when he came on, and you're like, this is the guy that we're watching every night on CBS. We're talking via Zoom, but face
mm-hmm.
to face. And I also interviewed Carol Baskin a few months ago about a bunch of stuff. So there was a local zoo in our area that had gotten shut down. They had shut down, closed, and the zoo was part of the Tiger King series. It was mentioned briefly, but it was one of the zoos that had interacted with Joe Exotic. And so we had that local tie, and then there were some other things going on that we were like, this would just be a good interview. So Dr. Fauci, Carol Baskin, I would say both of those were kind of some of my highlights for sure.
That's amazing. And I think I did see that in your reel that you were
Mm,
interviewing Dr. Fauci, and I was like, "Oh, that's awesome."
yeah. Yeah. I used that at the beginning of my reel because I was wanting to show, people eventually, whenever I choose to, start flying and stuff, that I can interview people of that magnitude and sound and look fine, and be able to handle that kind of situation. So that was kind of my thought process with that.
Nice. So, is there anything else that you would like to add to this conversation that we've had today?
Hmm. I think I would just say news is an ever-changing business. Last week I didn't have to. I chose to help one of my friends out. She's getting her master's right now in PR, and she wanted me to answer 5 or 6 questions about how does news interact with PR and stuff like that. And so one of the questions was, how is news changing? Where do you see it going? Stuff like that. And I said, definitely social media. I mean, we're seeing it right now. Social media is insane when it comes to news. For the most part, you can always tell people things quicker on social media. So you've got Facebook Live, you've got Twitter, you've got you've got your apps. So like for us, we've got our mobile app. It's CI Proud to Go, and we can push alert things to your phone if you have our app. And I think you have to like allow, how it always says, allow them to send you notifications. So you have to allow that, obviously. But like, if we want you to have a story on your phone and you've got CI Proud to Go download on your phone, we can use an app for push alerts and boom, get it on your phone like that. And so I just think, things are they're getting quicker, they're getting faster. And with that, there's a lot of mistakes. There's a lot of mistakes in a lot of these web stories that people are trying to get out quickly. I got a push alert today from one of the major networks, and I was reading through it. It was about President Biden's first press conference, in his 2 months in office, and there was like 3 or 4 grammatical errors that I caught from one of the biggest networks in the world and one of their reporters. And I was just like, how is this happening? I was always told in college, you spell something wrong, you say something wrong, or you do grammatical errors online, and you're going to get fired like that. And I'm not saying that that's not going to happen, but I've seen plenty of these networks making easy mistakes left and right. And so what I'm hoping happens is just, as time goes on, people learn how to be quick, but how to be factual and how to tell the whole story quickly. So
That was a very good point.
thanks. Yeah. I know you're graduating soon, obviously. Is there anything when it comes to applying, more real stuff, anything like that you have questions on, or maybe some of your peers might have questions about, you think would be good?
Maybe just like applying to jobs and like how to go about that.
Yeah. That's, other than reels, that's another huge thing. So what I would say is at least an easy way to start applying is figure out who the broadcast corporations are. So for example, my station is owned by Nexstar. Nexstar has about 170 or so stations nationwide. It's the biggest conglomerate in the country. So you've got Nexstar, which is huge. You've got Sinclair, which is very big, Gray Television, Tegna, Scripps, Meredith. And so you find out who these corporations are, and each of these places have websites and they have a careers page. And so usually what you'll do is you'll create a profile on it. And so your profile will be your name, your email, your cell number. You'll probably attach a reel to it and your resume, along with maybe some other stuff. And then through that careers portal, you will look up jobs or find jobs specific to what you want to do. So, for example, if you go on the Nexstar career thing, and let's say you want to be a reporter in California, in a city in California, it doesn't even have to be a specific city. On the left side of the screen, usually you'll see different states. And so you would see California, and it would say California, and in parentheses next to it, it would say 32. That means that there currently are 32 job openings in California Nexstar markets. So you'd click that, you'd click search, and boom, there they are. Now, they're not all going to be reporter jobs. You obviously, let's say you don't know where you want to go, but you want to be a reporter. So before you click on any state thing or anything like that, in the search bar, you put reporter. So then boom, there's all the reporter tabs. So I think that would be a good way to start, because for people out of college, 99.9% of the time you're going to start in a local market. And that doesn't mean it's going to be a tiny market or, a market you never want to go to. You never know. You really never know. And I would say shoot for the stars there. But that's probably most likely what's going to happen. And so using these companies that have all these cities in the United States where there's opportunity to move up, so that's upward mobility. A lot of times companies will let you even leave your contract early if you continue in the company. So for example, if in a year from now, I'm not saying this at all, that's what I'm going to do, but let's say in a year from now, I really want to leave, but I don't want to break my contract. I could look through Nexstar, get it approved by my boss, and say, hey, I really just think my time's up here, but I want to stay in the company. And you can do that without having to break your contract and pay any money. So kind of keep that in mind too.
Oh, okay, that's good to know. I didn't know that you could do that.
Yeah, it depends. Different companies are different ways. So some companies will, they might say you got to stay at least 1 year and then you can break your contract. So if you sign, usually from a reporter contract, you'll sign a 2-year. Sometimes they'll try to get you on a 3-year. I would definitely recommend a 2-year contract to start. Just being honest. So I would recommend a 2-year contract. Sometimes they'll say you got to stay a year before you can, but then once you hit that year, yeah, you can leave. There's a thing for my company now that, and I just saw this in the last year or so, but one of the questions, if you're applying for other jobs within your company, one of the questions is, sorry, another call.
No worries.
My sweet mother. But
You declined your mother's call. I'm just kidding.
I'll call her in a few. But one of the questions was, have you been with your company for 6 months? So, because I mean, a lot of news directors, they're going to be looking at how long have you been in your current job? What's your experience like? So, for example, if you were to get a job somewhere and 3 months in, let's just say you weren't really liking it, you wanted to leave, and that's fine. A lot of people feel that way, but I will caution you that after 3 months, if you were to apply in other markets and start interviewing, and the news director asks you, well, hey, how long have you been at WMBD? Oh, well, I've only been here 3 months. They might, they might get some weird feelings about that, unfortunately, and think that you're just trying to jump to bigger markets and stuff like that. So, I'll always try to have a good reason. If you're going to leave or make a big move like that, always have a good reason.
Absolutely. Thank you, Matt.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you. It was nice talking with you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. It was awesome.
Of course. And thank you for your time.
Yeah, definitely. If you ever have any questions or anything like that, always feel free to reach out.
All right. Oh yeah. Thank you for mentioning that. Would you like to share your social media handles?
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so much. So I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. My Facebook is Matt Sheehan TV. That's my professional page. You can follow me there. I like to post funny stuff. I like to post my stories that I do. So a little mix of both. On Twitter, I am the Matt_Sheehan. So you can find me on Twitter there. I like to post news stuff. I like to talk sports. I like to talk movies and entertainment, mostly when it comes to the DC extended universe, DC, Batman, and all that. I like to talk about that. I like to talk about Star Wars, stuff like that. And then Instagram is similar to Twitter, but it's just the Matt Sheehan all together on Instagram.
Okay, awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
You've been listening to The Santana Show with Naomi Santana. Interesting guests and insight with good conversation. You can follow Naomi on Twitter at Naomi Santana45 and The Santana Show at The Santana Show _. Please subscribe to The Santana Show on YouTube. Thank you for listening. Join Naomi again next time on The Santana Show.